what are CEOs concerned about right now? Because we had a market guest. Everything is
Dan Suzuki from
amazing.
iCapital. I'm really glad. That's exactly what, as you were reading that, I was like, well, Dan just said everything is awesome.
Amazing.
It's fine.
Is it?
So there is definitely an optimism in the environment, which I think is warranted. I mean, one thing is that uncertainty is very damaging for our brains. And when we're facing a lot of uncertainty, as we really did last year, we frame uncertainty as something negative, right? And then we automatically think, oh, things that are uncertain, that's going to be a downturn, that's going to be a recession. And I think what we're seeing now is almost bringing uncertainty into the day by day rather than adjusting for it, which is allowing some of this optimism to come in the market, which is good, right? I want CEOs to reframe that uncertainty is neither good or bad, it's just the future. So I would say, Carol, that CEOs are relatively optimistic, but the crude way that I'm looking at it, and it is crude, is if you draw a continuum of do you touch dirt or do you touch consumers?
I love this.
The closer you are to dirt, the more bullish you are right now. So if you're in infrastructure, mega projects, ports, anything touching the data center, you're seeing the next 1 or 2 cycles as an outsized growth opportunity. If you're kind of touching something that goes through someone else that eventually gets to the consumer, it's pretty good, but you're still looking at the margins. If you're closer to the consumer, you still have a growth story, but it's a little bit more cracks under there because there are certainly cracks in the consumer economy right now, and every CEO will admit they're concerned about the consumer.
CEO.
That's interesting.
Every
I mean,
CEO.
Yeah.
Like this.
We just heard from Elliot Lorenz and Bob Diamond, and they're saying they have the signals, and they're saying although consumers are looking for more credit,
yes.
Which you can interpret that however you want.
Well, you can't fight that, right? The numbers, but
But if their delinquencies are down, then consumers doing pretty well, right?
The consumer, the K-shaped economy is still here. And I know that, some people in the White House would like it to go away. The data is pretty clear. The K is here to stay. Now, what we saw from the Bank of America data this week was that the lower part of the K is increasing spending, and we're seeing a little bit less, which is great to see. But that doesn't mean the shape goes away. It means the shape is not steepening at the same rate as it was before. We're seeing personal savings rate at the lowest that they've ever been. We're seeing the number of discouraged workers who are just out of the workforce very, very high. Labor participation
worrisome.
is
The
the
not
lowest
in
that it's
labor
been.
force,
Not
right?
in the labor
the
force.
NILFs.
Right.
And we were talking inflation today at jobs last week. And so again, if you want me to paint you a happy consumer story, I can find the data. Tell me the story you want to tell. I'll make the data tell that story. But a small percentage of consumers are having the time of their life. The majority of the consumers are still going on this day to day. And what we have to remember is that chaos has a cost, and consumers pay that cost too. They are exhausted. Shopping for value is hard. Waiting, if you don't like your job but you're afraid to get a new one so you're sitting in it, that's emotionally draining. So when you say worried about consumer, it doesn't mean the consumer is going to fall off the cliff. It means that the consumer is living in day-to-day chaos, and that's placing a tax on our day-to-day American consumer.
I love that concept. I mean, I don't love that concept, but this idea of a chaos tax.
But does it stay like this? Because I don't know. We've been talking about this for a long time. It hasn't gotten any better. I mean, like you said, you can pick the data and figure out which story you want to tell. But what changes this?
So there's policy intervention. There is no CEO, and we'll go back to the CEOs, no CEO is ever going to ask for certain times or stability, right? If you're the CEO of a company, you are prepared for uncertainty. We would like less chaos, though. What we're seeing right now is we've normalized system shocks every couple of months. But this affects policy, right? If we think about the Federal Reserve, they're supposed to look through supply shocks. How can you look through something that's going to happen every 2 to 3 months? So all of these tried and true things we have are getting affected by this level of chaos.
Carol, this is what Con Davis told us, the CEO of Burnett Technologies, just last week, right? They make, they're in the U.S., they do manufacturing of these, you don't want to call them guns, but they look like guns, and they shoot sort of pellets, and they're, defense technology. He's like, we just want less chaos.
Yeah, right, exactly. Just
and
pick a
more
policy.
stability.
Yes.
Right? It's like
not
making
less
a decision.
Uncertainty. It's not being immature and asking for less uncertainty. It's less chaos. Because for an organization, chaos has a cost. You have paralysis in decision making.
Right.
You hold off on hiring. You hold off on sometimes making M&A. You hold off on big investments. So chaos has a systemic cost because you have a lot of investment dollars and people and decisions sitting on the sidelines. And constant paralysis actually weakens this growth and performance muscle that teams have.
It's like not making a decision, right? You sit there and you just
But what you don't realize is you're not just moving
it.
slower because you didn't make the decision. Growth is a muscle. So as a team, when you're executing in the market, you're getting insights on your customers and consumers, you're bringing those insights in, you're building this muscle as a management team. When you go into this constant paralysis, that muscle actually atrophies, right? And so if you have entire systems where industries are just sitting in a bit of this paralysis, that's going to become system-wide pretty soon. So that's why we're saying chaos has a cost. Uncertainty is great. Uncertainty can be a great time to grow. It's a great time to learn, but chaos places a real tax on us.
It's funny. I was going to talk about AI. Sorry, team, and we didn't get there. But what's interesting is what you say is that companies are building in to their muscle shocks, right? Because we've had so many. Just got 20 seconds.
If I look at the beginning of the year, what CEOs will tell you is, I'm expecting to see more uncertainty, but I think I'm better at it now. And that's good news, but we shouldn't need to have built that muscle on top of all the other muscles.
Yeah, that is so true.